Are you perhaps struggling with your habits and or addictions? Well, today I'm going to talk about the power of these and actually the disempowering part of these. And how can you really start using your habits for you? And if you stay until the end, I have an extra point for you then as well. As always, if you want to connect with me more and follow me more, you can find me on social media, and that is linked in the show notes below. In my life, I've had things that have like really served me to move me forward in life and really help my mental health and my emotions and my confidence with things as well. Things like working out, for example, exercising, really, really good for me. I did 75 hard last year, for example, and that really helped me physically and mentally. I got in a super, super great shape. And what 75 hard is, it's 75 days with specific things you got to do. You got to work out a couple of times a day. You can choose how intense you like. You have to drink a gallon of water. You have to do a little bit of reading, and you follow a certain diet and a couple of other things. And I did that, and it really served me to get me into a better emotional place, and physically into a better place. So that was a really good habit by following that, for example. I've also had the habit of going out and speaking to many people, and that's really served me in terms of building my social skills, building my networks, and even helping me in business as well. By going out and speaking to people, I generate people talking about what I do, and it's helped me. I've also had things that have not helped me. Now, my mentor described this really, really well. The difference between a habit and an addiction. A habit is something that serves you. An addiction is something that does not. Now, when we think, well, how I've certainly thought in the past is addiction is something like a severe drug addiction or severe alcohol addiction, right? Now, there are subtler things we can be addicted to as well. Now, of course, you can be obviously addicted to drugs and alcohol, and there's people with those kind of challenges in life, right? And you may or may not have experienced it as well. I've realized though that from what he said, my mentor, he said an addiction does not serve you. And we can do things very subtly and not even aware of them over and over again. And actually, they don't serve us. So maybe think about that in your own life. And it could be something like social media, scrolling, very common one for people, sugar, drinking too much coffee. These are all the kind of addictions you can get. It could be hanging out with the wrong people or being really into the person who's really not good for you, right? These can be addictions, things that don't serve us. So we're going to go into a little bit about how you can start focusing yourself more and becoming more aware to therefore form more habits that are going to serve you and reduce some of the addictions as well. Because it probably doesn't help you when you're doing the same thing again and again and it's not going forward, right? So let's dive into that. The first thing, and I'm going to make it very, very simple because I like to make it simple, because with habits and things, I could call addictions bad habits, but I won't. I'll call them addictions. The thing is, when you try and overcomplicate it and make it too hard, your brain's not want to go to stick with it, because it wants to conserve energy and it wants to do as much on auto control as possible. And if you're consciously trying to change too much at once, it's going to find it really hard. So the first thing I'm going to encourage you to do is ask yourself, what is your outcome like in terms of your mental health, your emotional health, or even your confidence? What is it that you want? What is your outcome? Where are you looking to go? You want to feel really, and it's not what you don't want, it's what you want. Do you want to feel really excited, really joyful, right? We're going to use the example here of your personal emotions, but it could be a financial outcome, it could be a relationship outcome, whatever you want to choose, right? You can do it for different areas of life as well and go through this exercise. So what you want, and be very clear on that. The next thing, ask yourself, what are 3 things that are going to help? And then ask yourself, are you doing them? Right? So for example, that you could do very regularly, and it could be a weekly thing or it could be a daily thing, right? So for example, you want to feel really joyful and peaceful more often than not. Fantastic. So maybe you get into the habit of meditating every day. Now, it might not be for you. Maybe breath work's better. Maybe working out's better for you. Maybe journaling's better. Maybe reading a good book is going to be good for you. And then maybe weekly you have a long breathwork session. That's just an example I've got. Or maybe you have your weekly yoga class, right? So think of 3 things that are going to move you towards your outcome. And then what are 3 things that you need to reduce or remove, because some things can't necessarily be removed straight away, they need to be reduced, that are really hindering you from getting towards where you want. So for example, again, come back to like where you want to be. You want to feel like 10 out of 10 joy and 10 out of 10 peace for as much as the time as you can. Right now, we all know it's probably not going to be 100% of the time because life comes in. We're humans with emotions, right? But maybe you like excessively go on social media and you scroll and you're comparing yourself to others. Not such a good thing to be helping you towards where you want to go. And that's an addiction. So how can you reduce it? Can you have screen time on there? Can you put your phone in a lockbox? What are 3 things you need to reduce or remove? Maybe you're drinking too much, right? There's a common one for many of us, like to run away from our emotions, and actually it's causing a lot of anxiety. So how can you either reduce or remove that a little bit? So those are the main points I wanted to share with you. I've got an extra one for you as well. Just to mention though, again, if you want to connect with me more, you can find my social media links in the show notes below. My final point would be look for an area where you're really successful in life and model your habits and addictions, which there probably aren't any, for that area, and think about how you could apply it to another. So for example, maybe you're really good with your money, but you're not very good with making money, but you're not very good with your emotions. So what habits do you do? Like every single day, you're looking at your numbers, like you know where you are, like you're not second guessing. Maybe you're adding value to people like very regularly in your life. Therefore, you become valuable. Therefore, you're making money. And also maybe you don't, and maybe in terms of a addiction you don't spend money, and that's going to be an addiction. You don't spend money excessively, you only spend what you need. And then think about, okay, I do that really well with my money. Now, how can I take that learning and apply it to my emotions and where I want to get to that? Well, it could be your health. You might be like, well, I'm really good with money. This is quite a lot of people. I'm really good with my money, but I'm not very good in my health. I'm not as fit as I'd like to be, right? So how can you apply that learning into another area of your life? So that's what I got for you today. I appreciate you for being here. You'll improve other people's lives by working on yourself. And remember to lead with your heart and not with fear.